The hopes and dreams of cryptocurrency holders is at all-time highs, and that continues to get pumped into the market, especially as we get into this next stage of the Bitcoin bull market. It's potentially the last stage of this current Bitcoin bull market cycle. And so the last thing you want to be doing is holding these dirty bags of cryptocurrency hopes and dreams through a bear market and potentially watching them fall 80, 90, and 95% against their tops, their top values. That's what we're going to look at today and answer the question, which cryptocurrencies should we be holding during a bear market? Before we dive in, make sure you smash those YouTube numbers down below, just in the corner here, likes and subscribes, bell notification icon so you can see this content come up in your newsfeed and pop up on your mobile phone, because this video is also in conjunction with this video here. When will the Bitcoin and crypto bull market end? And so that's why today's video I'm looking at which crypto should we be holding through a bear market. So make sure you check this video out after this video. I'll leave a link to it at the end of the video. You just have to wait till the end, click on the playlists, super easy to use. And then you can check out some of the other videos there on the channel as well. So we're going to answer that question today. I thought it was an interesting one. I had it from Patreon members, which cryptocurrencies should we hold through the bear market. And if you are interested in Patreon, where I post about what's in my portfolio, what I'm buying and selling, there's a link to Patreon in the description down below, right at the top. Click that link, follow us along in Patreon over there. So the main premise here is I don't want to be holding cryptos which are going to bleed out harder than Bitcoin. And we can see that on the charts. And we'll also look at cryptos from the previous cycle, which had the massive hopes and dreams of new investors that absolutely turned to crap during this cycle. And also look at some of the cryptos that you absolutely do not want to hold anywhere past the peaks. All right, so looking at Bitcoin, it's happened before. We've seen it. Bitcoin has run up into some peaks. It's dumped into extreme lows, $3,100 back in 2018. And that drop was around 80 to 85%. So if we just take a measure move from the top of 20,000 to the low, there you go, about 84%. So Bitcoin can do these massive drops, and it's done it in its history time and time again. The previous one to what we currently saw in 2021 was in 2019 to 2020, and it gave us around 72, 73%. And the most recent one from 65 to 28 is about 55% drop. The thing that people worry about is what happens if the market goes up forever and it never comes back. That's probably not going to happen. There's always cycles and the markets always come back at some point. But the more mature a market gets, the less the decline generally is, just generally speaking here. As we can see for Bitcoin, 84%, 72%, 55%. And so that becomes the point where it gets really hard to determine, should I be selling this crypto or not? Because what if I sell it too early in this zone here? Maybe you sell it at 35,000 because we had a peak, and you watch it run up to 65, and then you watch it come all the way back down, and it pretty much just comes back to the same price that you had sold out at. In that case, you're not losing anything. But what happens if it doesn't? What happens if it only came back to 40,000 and now you've got to buy in at a higher price? For one, that's investing. That's what happens sometimes. But for two, the majority of these cryptocurrencies will probably come back 80, 90, 95%. So even if they run up so far past the point that you sold out, there is a high probability of them coming all the way back plus more, so that you have another entry opportunity. And you can see that in a moment when we look at some of the charts. This is just something that happens in the cryptocurrency space, especially with things that are very illiquid, like 99% of the altcoins out there. They're going to boom and then they'll bust around that 90+%. So you've always got that second chance to get back in, provided you haven't sold the bottom, you've missed the top, and then you're waiting to buy that bottom again. As long as you've sold on any point of the peaks on the way up, it's likely that the market will come back. That's just what we've seen in the past, what we've seen in history. And I saw that in history as I sat through the previous Bitcoin bear market, posting videos on YouTube, looking at 10s and 20x's, buying Bitcoin at $5,000, $8,000, $10,000. I was hopeful that the market was going to go up again. And this is where we're at around a $61,000 Bitcoin right now. So this doesn't really help you by showing you this, except that it does hurt to sit through a bear market. But at some point, you will get that re-entry point. And this was even on Bitcoin. So the question we came here to answer is, which cryptocurrency should we hold through a bear market? Get on with it, Jason. For me, I like Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin is not going to have as big of a drop as it has done in the past based on what we've seen in the past, and that those drops are getting smaller and smaller because more and more money is coming into Bitcoin. It's becoming more liquid, and therefore generally with these more mature markets, it doesn't have retracements as big as some of the immature markets. Anything that is more than or less than a year or two old, it's going to have those markets are going to have bigger drops because there's just less money in it and less real firm belief. So for me, Bitcoin is one of those. The other cryptocurrency which I'm considering is Ethereum. I do like Ethereum. I think Ethereum is going to be one of those cryptos which may hold its value, especially with staking, especially with Ethereum being burnt. And so I think that is going to limit the downside to Ethereum in this next bear market, whenever that may be. Maybe it's in 6 months' time that we start to see a peak and then a fall away from the peak. So they're the two at the moment. I do have a third, which I am considering based on some of the charts, which we'll have a look at for particular reasons. But first, this is what we saw, or this is what we currently see in the top 20. This is to understand that most of these cryptos will probably absolutely blow up and die in the ass after this next bull market. So when it come the bear market, most of these are probably going to be worth a lot less than they currently are right now. Looking at the historic values of the previous bull market, 2017, this was the Bitcoin top in December, and then the altcoin top was around January, February. And so you can take a quick glance at this, and a lot of this stuff is not in the top 20 or not at its same value. And there's only a handful of them which are still in the top 20 and more than their current value. Ethereum being one of those. Cardano is 2.5 what it is there. XRP is still worth less than it was at the altcoin peak. Bitcoin Cash, no one even cares about that anymore. Litecoin is still worth less than at its altcoin peak. NEM, I'm sure most people have never even heard of NEM. Stellar, Neo's not even up there anymore. IOTA, EOS, Dash, Monero, etc. Okay, this just goes on and on and on. Now I hear you sitting there thinking, that's not going to happen to my crypto. Luna is amazing because XYZ. You're forgetting about this. You're missing the fundamentals. Avalanche is not like this. Avalanche is going to steal your thunder, whatever this ridiculous crypto sayings are. Shiba's different. All these things are different. Solana, you got no idea it's going to be a top 5 coin. That all may be true. But do you really want to take the risk on something which is completely unproven and risk your hard-earned dollars on it? Now, if you have a small amount, you don't really care, different story. If you've got a lot of money on it, maybe you want to take some profits out, you've got to work towards your plan. So Solana is a big name at the moment. Terra is huge at the moment. Avalanche, huge at the moment. In terms of these smart contract plays, go back and look at history. Smart contract plays. Neo was the Chinese Ethereum. It is no longer anywhere near the top 10. It's not even anywhere near its $170 price tag. How ridiculous. EOS, the Ethereum killer, dead. IOTA, the Ethereum killer, because it's dangle technology. No one even looks at it anymore. They have big news. No one looks at this stuff anymore. Dash was a big project. Not much is going on there anymore. Tron, still trying to make its comeback. Ethereum Classic, not much happens there. Icon was another killer. The South Korean Ethereum killer. It's at $2. If you don't think it's going to happen to you with your fantastic cryptocurrency with these beautiful little logos of Avalanche and Uniswap and Solana, it's probably going to happen. All right, so this is just looking at the historical snapshots. Now, how can I be wrong on this? I want to know when I'm wrong, and I want to be able to follow that on a chart. And so I've got EOS as the first chart here. EOS, you can see that we had lower highs, lower highs, lower highs, lower highs, lower highs. This is a downtrend. This is not coming back at the moment until some of these highs are broken. Then we could possibly consider something is fundamentally different, and this might be a project that we want to get back in on. I'm talking about this in terms of an example of, say, Solana or Avalanche. You want to get in on one of these projects and actually hold it long-term during the bear market. These things have all died in the ass during the bear market. IOTA, another example, all the way down. This is against its Bitcoin value, and it just continues to flop. Now, it has to get above these levels, 4,000, and then you might consider, actually, IOTA does have some legs here. So this is the thing we want to look for in our cryptocurrencies, which we may hold. And speaking of which, Cardano may be one of those cryptos that I would consider holding. Now, what I want to see is the lows to be held. So we can see the lows at around 3,000, 3,100 Satoshis. This is against its Bitcoin value. And you want to start to see some of the highs get broken. This is a sign of a strong cryptocurrency because it's going to be strong against Bitcoin. And then Bitcoin's probably going to be weak in the bear market, which will probably take everything else down with it as well, which means altcoins will be weak and Bitcoin will be weak. So if you start to see a trend changing on the alt of your choice against this Bitcoin chart, then you're going to know that this might have some strength to last through the bear market. And they're going to be the cryptocurrencies that I will want to hold through a bear market. Potentially I have some staking, so I'm going to earn some staking rewards, and I can continue to buy into those cryptocurrencies while the market is super, super cheap. So that's the sort of stuff that I'll be looking for. Ethereum also was down during the bear market, 2019, 2020, but it started to come back. So we know that there is development and projects coming onto Ethereum. Like everyone knows that now. There's a lot of stuff on there, but you don't know that during the bear market. You don't know that in this sort of facial expression. You have no idea what's coming next. We just think that the market is going to go up because from what we can understand in terms of development, but the prices are all down and it's very hard to understand at that point. So before the bear market gets here, what's the next sign? Well, the next sign is the cryptos are beginning to break down underneath their Bitcoin support levels. So which cryptos do we want to hold? We want to hold stuff that is holding up. It's holding its support against its Bitcoin value during the peaks of the market and as we start to roll over into the bear market. The next thing, you want to start to see some highs get taken out, or at least consolidate at a higher zone than where it's currently going. Because if it keeps going down, then you're probably better off being in Bitcoin to retain your Bitcoin value and not lose so much in the fiat value as well. And then have some powder, whether that's Bitcoin or fiat, to then buy in during the next bear market. So that's the things that I'll be looking for. The cryptocurrencies that I'll be looking to hold, Bitcoin, definitely, stable coins, of course, probably a lot of Ethereum, and potentially Cardano or any other cryptocurrency that looks to hold up its lows that it has put in during this bull market. So I hope that was very helpful for you guys who are looking to hold some cryptocurrencies during the next bear market. If you're unsure, Bitcoin is the answer. It's just hold Bitcoin, hold some stables, maybe hold some Ethereum. That would be the easiest thing to do if you're not interested in looking through a ton of charts to understand what it is that you are looking to do to hold onto strong cryptocurrencies. Now, we've got a little bonus here as well. The worst cryptos to hold during a bear market, in my opinion, of course, NFTs. Why? Because they'll be completely illiquid and it's going to be very hard to find someone who will want to buy these at those extreme prices while everything else is suppressed. Art, traditionally, historically, has a very hard time reaching high price targets when there is a recession on, a depression, a huge bear market. So NFTs are basically classed in that art world, so I wouldn't be looking to do that. The other thing is high yield projects which are promising huge staking returns, 10%, 15%. It might sound like a great idea at first so that you can make some money in a bear market, but you can bet your bottom dollar that most of these people who would be holding the cryptos are just going to be selling off those rewards, and that'll just continue to depress the price probably faster than if you're just holding a coin with no staking rewards, because the prices are all going down. You're in a bear market, plus everyone's getting some inflationary tokens to then push the price down even further. So that would be the two major things that I wouldn't hold, and this is something that I learned from 2018 looking at masternode cryptocurrencies. Those things went down really hard with the bear market and with people selling all of their rewards. That's it for today's video. Make sure you stick around. A few more seconds to go. At the end, you can find the other videos that I've been talking about on the channel here. Go back and check out when will the Bitcoin bull market end. And then, of course, some of the other videos here in terms of $1,000 starting off a portfolio, etc. Now, if you want to join us on Patreon, there's a link in the top of this video. Go and check it out. It's got my portfolio and cryptocurrencies that I might be trading and my buy and sell signals on those as well. So check out Patreon down below. Otherwise, I'll see you guys at the next video, and make sure you've liked, share, and subscribe before you check out the videos after this one. Until then, have more fun to get more done.